All right, I'd like to go through one of these proofs with you, since I'm not sure I'm going to be in class today when you get to this part. So what I'm wanting you to do on the homework is to try to do full 2-column proofs. So I'm going to do number 1 with you, and I would recommend you might get another sheet of paper because you are going to have to write a lot, and unless you write really, really small, it's going to be hard to work with. So I'm going to label my picture on this page, but then I'm going to go ahead and have a second piece of paper here that I'm actually going to write my statements and reasons on. So I'm going to get everything all set up with statements and reasons. So if you need to pause this video to grab some paper, feel free to do that. So when we begin a proof, we write our givens out, and I want you to start practicing that because we are getting to the point of being more formal here. So number 1, I have C as the midpoint of AD. So C is, now you may abbreviate. I'm going to write C is midpoint, and I'm going to abbreviate MIDPT for midpoint. C is midpoint of AD. So it kind of depends on how much room you have and how small you've written. And then my second given underneath it is angle A is congruent to angle D. And then I actually have one more given right here. Angle 1 congruent to angle 2. So all of that will go with given. Now before I go any further, I have been given 2 congruence statements. I need to mark those before I go on. So A is congruent to D would be right here. Mark A and mark D. Angle 1 congruent to 2. I need double arcs right here. Double, double. Okay, so I'm ready to do number 3. So number 2 actually. Number 2. Now, I need to find something generated off of the word midpoint. So if this point C is the midpoint of AD, remember, midpoint chops things in half. So I know that the left side is equal to the right. So I'm going to put a congruent mark on AC and a congruent mark on AD. And that's what my line 2 will say. Segment AC is congruent to segment DC. So segment AC congruent to segment DC. And my reason is definition of midpoint. That's just what the midpoint does. Definition of midpoint. Okay, now at this point, I can actually be done. I have ASA. And so you might be looking at this going, what about reflexive? Well, I could have used reflexive, but I don't really need it because I've already have another method of proving. So I need to write down my triangles. So step number 3 is triangle ABC is congruent to, now I have to name it. So A, B, C, and then D goes with A. So I have to go D up to B down to C. So triangle D, B, C. And number 3 is ASA. Okay, so I would like for you, I'll leave that there for a couple minutes. I would like for you to take the other problems. There are 6 of them altogether. There are 6 problems altogether, and I want you to go ahead and finish that up, and we'll check that on Monday.